Welcome back to Coffee with Yvonne, a show for creatives and entrepreneurs. I'm Yvonne Pearson, your host, and darling, the founder. That just don't hit the same without my nails. Anyway, the founder of Pink Doll House Marketing. And today on the show, we're going to do another Marketing Magic episode because I know y'all love it. I know y'all love it. And I actually got feedback in real life from someone who listened to the podcast. I put them on. And she really enjoyed the podcast and the way I break down marketing topics to make it easy to understand for everyone who's listening and or watching. Because I don't know where you getting this show. Because it's on all the platforms. But anyway, that's not why we're here. Today, we're going to do another Marketing Magic episode in which I dive into popular campaigns or business news that you may have seen on your timeline while you scrolling. And we break down the marketing tactics behind them with a little sprinkle for some razzle dazzle. We're chatting all about how Ryan Coogler went from director to cultural architect. Next up, we're going to talk about Harlem's Fashion Row and Macy's and the power of purpose-driven pop-ups. And then in our final story, we're going to talk about inside MAC Cosmetics, content first marketing strategy. So grab your coffee and let's chat. Ooh, that goes together real good. Okay. If you want to know what's in my cup, I saw when I was at the grocery store paying them high prices for Yvonne, let it go. I saw that Starbucks released a white chocolate mocha iced coffee. Now, if you know me well enough, you know I have certain drinks at Starbucks that I just live by. The first one is in the summer. It's my strawberry lemonade refresher with double scoop of strawberries because sometimes they be stingy with them strawberries. I'm like, why? It's just freeze dried. And then my other favorite is the white chocolate mocha with soy no whip. I get that whether it's in the summer or in the winter. And then, of course, it's the holiday menu. I love me a Starbucks holiday menu. I put a meeting on the calendar and everything to go ahead and get my red cup. And I love the caramel brulee latte. It's actually caramel brulee, but I call it brulee latte because it sounds a lot more fun. Yeah, but those are my favorite drinks at Starbucks. But anywho, getting back to what's in my cup. So in my cup, I took the white chocolate mocha iced drink that they have at the store now. Glory, hallelujah, save me some money. And I added the Chobani sweet creamer. That comes in the purple bottle. Both of them are actually in a purple bottle to make it easier on you. But when you add those two together, it gives it a little something. It gives it a little something. Okay, first up in our first story, we're going to talk about Ryan Coogler, from director to cultural architect. And if you see me looking down at my screen, it's because I bring notes to the conversation to make sure we're having an informed and engaged chat. So I got this from Variety. I actually saw it first on social media per usual because I feel like social media is where I really get all my information. Then I go and find me an actual news source to back it up because people be putting fake stuff on these platforms recently. I'm like, is that real? So that's why I go ahead and double check outside of social media platforms. So this came from social media from Spill, a Black-owned social media platform. And then I went to Variety to find out more information for additional details. So to pull an excerpt from the source, Sinners filmmaker Ryan Coogler has been named Creative of the Year by Creative Collective NYC, the innovative organization behind CultureCon. I have gone to CultureCon before. I actually went the year Tracy Ellis Ross was there. Fairy girl, she's one of my faves. But they have like dope activations, workshops, really great speakers who come in from all aspects of the creative industry, whether you're in front of the camera or behind the camera on the corporate and planning side. And CultureCon is actually something I recommend all creatives go to at least once, so you can just see and be in a room with other like-minded people who are either in the process of growing their career or actually established in the career. Coogler is the second individual to be named Creative of the Year, following last year's inaugural honoree, Grammy Award-winning rapper Doechii. You know Doechii. Who got the gorgeous skin and be rapping her behind off. I love me some Doechii. If I could go see her in concert, I would. I feel like she would be worth it for sure because the creativity, my God. my Lord, she puts in the work. So let's get into those marketing takeaways. And first, let's talk about positioning through cultural relevance. Rather than marketing strictly through traditional industry channels, Coogler's recognition comes from influential cultural creative community positions that leverage him as a cultural leader, not just a filmmaker. That elevates his personal brand beyond his film releases into a narrative about impact and influence. And as someone who has seen Sinners, I'm not a gore horror movie type of person. I actually like a good documentary or a good thriller that, like the who done it kind of thing. But Sinners cinematically was one of the most beautifully shot movies I've ever seen. And the fact that there were so many haters, you know how they say let your haters be your motivators? There were a lot of haters when it came to Ryan's film with Sinners. They were trying to put out all types of media. You know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. But they were trying to put out all types of media to downplay the impact of his film. Ryan stood 10 toes down in his idea and made sure that the culture was being represented throughout the narrative of Sinners. While people didn't get it, it wasn't for you to get. It wasn't for you to get because we got it. In our next marketing takeaway, let's talk about marketing by association with community values. CultureCon is known for showcasing creators who represent innovation and community aspect and impact. By having Ryan Coogler associated with this is not just a credit. It reflects shared values with audiences who care about diversity, creativity, and cultural storytelling. More importantly, in that takeaway for this segment, strategic affiliations with organizations that reflect your values can communicate your brand's ethos organically to new audiences. And strategic affiliations, or as I like to call them, strategic partnerships, don't have to only be transactional. It can be cultural transactions too. Like for example, the people I met being a blogger early in my career when blogging was very new, those are relationships that I cultivated and grew over time and still have to this day, genuinely and authentically, as we continue to have grown in our career, whether we've moved on from the blogging space or we have gone into spaces that are, connected in the blogging creative aspect, like content creation. It's not just about getting someone who you could just say this person. It's about building real relationships over time that can grow into something beautiful. And as you continue to evolve, you can put people on to what you're working with so they can thrive as well. And the last marketing takeaway for this segment, let's talk about leveraging narrative momentum across platforms. Coogler's acclaim for Sinners, from box office success to award season buzz and now this recognition, creates continuity in storytelling across press cycles. Each media moment reinforces others, building stronger recall and relevance. And when it comes to those press moments, to be honest, when his movie Sinners first came out, it was like, some mainstream media supported, but there were, like I mentioned, other mainstream media who were trying to downplay it. Black media stood 10 toes down behind Ryan. They pushed out the good stories. You had MACzine, you had other publications who were covering it frequently to make sure the right narrative was being pushed out. Because you had Black owned and inclusive media platforms like Essence talking about it, the success continued to grow and the numbers blew it out the water of what people's expectations were, even to the point it has I think broken records for being like an original film in terms of a concept in Hollywood in box office sales worldwide. And in that takeaway, a campaign that layers earned media, awards, positioning, and ongoing storytelling builds compound visibility over time. Okay, next up, we're going to talk about Harlem Fashion Row, Macy's, and the power of purpose-driven pop-ups. So for the source, I got this from Women's Wear Daily. I follow them on social media. I got this from Women's Wear Daily about the partnership between Harlem Fashion Row and Macy's. To pull an excerpt from the source, as part of the Black History Month celebration, Macy's will showcase 3 designers, Megan Renee, Bruce Glenn, and Kafil, in its window displays throughout the month of February, further amplifying the visibility of Black designers on a major retail stage. Harlem Fashion Row House reflects Harlem Fashion Row's continued mission to build pathways for underrepresented talent through access, education, and commerce. By transforming traditional retail into an immersive cultural experience, the activation looks to highlight the power of fashion as both a creative and commercial force. So let's get into those marketing takeaways. Let's talk about first, experiential engagement creates deeper brand moments. For Harlem Fashion House isn't a static pop-up, it's an activation. And for those who don't know, an activation is something like, and I know I've shared this before in a previous episode, but for those of you who are new here, sometimes if there are words that come up that are industry related, I will give you a more simplified version of what that actually means. So an activation is basically like you go to, okay, you are shopping at the mall, right? And a brand has something really cool set up in the middle of the mall square, if it's like an outdoor mall, or the mall promenade area. And you see, we're going to use a beauty brand. You see Sacred. Sacred does a pop-up. Sacred doesn't have a store in this mall. Sacred doesn't have any other type of kiosk or anything at the mall. They're basically there doing presenting a new product that they want for customers to test out or experience and build buzz for. So Sacred has this pop-up or this activation. And in the activation, you have ways to engage. You can have, for example, the Sacred bottle, and now it's like a cool, huge dome that's the top of the bottle because it's a round cylinder shape. And you have this cool, huge dome that you walk inside, and each area of the dome has different beauty areas for you to engage, whether it's with like Sacred scalp scrub or their hair oil or their hair drops, like their restoring edge drops that they have. Each area has something different. Then over on the other side, after you get all your fun beauty samples, there's a new product for you to experience and test and try. With this activation, they're now going to ask for your feedback. How did you like the product? Would you use the product again? And you maybe will get a deluxe sample for you to take home to continue using the product. So when it actually launches in store, which is usually around the time of the activation or shortly thereafter, you can then go to the store with whatever promotional offer they gave you from trying the product on site with this activation. That is essentially what an activation does. An activation's goal is to drive audience engagement. And audience engagement is basically when a business wants to go in front of their audience in a place where they can physically connect through an experience, through something with like shopping or something where people do something essentially. And that way businesses can then take that data back based on customer research through that audience engagement and either refine their marketing strategies or further amplify their marketing strategies from the responses they received. When it comes to things like that, those activations, it gives people a chance, in the Harlem Fashion Row example, a chance to shop and meet the designers, a chance to interact with the brands personally, and also build that brand visibility through a platform like Macy's that maybe their marketing dollars don't have enough money to support something this big, but because of Macy's and the recognition Macy's bring, it now allows for them to get in front of either their target customer or additional customers who may be interested in shopping and learning more about the designers in Harlem Fashion Row. By designing an immersive participatory experiences, not just displays, it drives deeper consumer engagement and word of mouth buzz. In that second marketing takeaway, let's talk about strategic collaboration increases credibility and reach. Again, as I touched on it a little bit before, by partnering with Macy's, Harlem Fashion Row gains scale and visibility beyond its existing niche. And I wouldn't call it a niche because that kind of waters down the importance of culture-centered brands and businesses. It's not a niche. It's a specific area of focus. It's a lane that we have to build for ourselves because we've been blocked out of opportunities within mainstream areas, in this case, fashion. But it gives Harlem Fashion Row a chance to get in front, like I said, the Macy's audience. And that visibility in turn signals Macy's support for the Black designers and community empowerment that also enhances their own brand equity. So it is a dual beneficial partnership. It's not just like Harlem Fashion Row is getting all these things from Macy's and they're amplifying their awareness and their platform, but Macy's in turn is also saying we also are getting a benefit as well, especially as inclusion and belonging or diversity and equity initiatives continue to be attacked at the corporate level and across various industries. By Macy's continuing with this partnership, they are also saying that we still are doing the work. We still are supporting Black and inclusive designers and people within the fashion industry space to provide them a platform to amplify what they do and also bring something new to the table that maybe our customers could be interested in, and us bringing it to our stores for them to shop beyond this activation. By doing so, this partnership creates those marketing accelerators with each party's and audience's values where they complement each other. And especially when you think about, again, in fashion, the fashion industry, as quiet as is not really kept, but the fashion industry still has a lot of work to do with building diversity, equity, inclusion across all areas of the industry. Black designers, Black creatives in the corporate side, whether you're putting on shows, runways, anything in the fashion industry still has a lot of work to do because it's still a very highly dominated white space. And you have people who are very talented in this industry who don't get the same platform, who have to fight so much harder. Like you have Sergio Hudson. Sergio Hudson is one of the most talented Black designers in the industry. He dressed freaking Michelle Obama. You have people like who can I pick? Kenya Molly. Kenya Molly from Project Runway. Very talented designer. I think she actually won her season or came very close to winning her season of Project Runway. Very talented designer, but still on the level of people who have been recognized. Kenya Molly is still not at that level that you see other designers. And unfortunately, because of the barriers that have been created in fashion, because of lack of capital to invest in these designers, a lot of Black designers and Black creators bootstrap their work because of the lack of money that is available to them. This is really great for Harlem Fashion Row, and I love that they are continuing to build this partnership with Macy's and amplify Black designers on a greater scale. Finally, in our last marketing takeaway for this segment, before we move on to our last story, let's talk about narrative marketing through social values. Harlem Fashion House is timed with Black History Month and positioned around storytelling. Example, window displays featuring select designers, curated collections like that. This goes beyond commerce. It crafts a purpose-driven narrative that resonates emotionally with audiences. By aligning the campaigns with cultural moments and values rather than just sales events, it builds authentic relevance in socially conscious consumers. In our final story, I know we are having a good and engaged chat, but I have to be mindful of your time because you're busy. And I don't want to take up too much of your time when we chatting. You know what I mean? Let's talk about Inside MAC Cosmetics content first marketing strategy. I got this from Cosmetic Business, and if you ever want to follow them on social media, they do a lot of great business news around the beauty industry. To pull an excerpt from the source, MAC Cosmetics is reintroducing its seasonal publication, MACzine. That's cute. That's a cute name for a magazine. MACzine, nearly a decade from its last issue. The MACzine served as a seasonal style manifesto for internal MAC artists between 2009, my God, that was the year I graduated from college, and 2017. The color cosmetic brand announced it will be coming back in an Instagram post, and it will be only on digital and not print, saying that it was coming soon for all ages, all races, and all genders. The MAC Cosmetic Global Ambassador, Doja Cat, who she actually just released not too long ago a new album. It's pretty good. Now, I know, sidebar, I know Doja did some things. But we gonna give grace. MAC Global Ambassador Doja Cat is the cover star of the first issue. So let's get into those marketing takeaways. Let's talk about first how owned media as a brand storytelling platform. By reviving MACzine, a once seasonal style manifesto for internal artists, MAC is reintroducing an editorial channel that lets the brand control the narrative instead of relying solely on product drops or influencer posts. By creating your own media space through things like blog, digital magazines, and newsletter, It allows for deeper storytelling, community building, and cultural leadership. And that is something I talk about all the time when I'm working on projects or whether I'm working with clients. Own content has power. I know people always want influencers to post about them, to talk about them, etc. But owning your own content, creating your own content strategy and storytelling gives you more power and leverage. When you see things like different brands creating digital media series on social media, whether they're big brands like Alexis Batar or that one Black History Museum. I can't think of the name right now, but I think they're in Detroit. They just launched this really cool series that's like Abbott Elementary Office Mock-U style that has gone viral on social media. When you take the time to build your own content strategy, you don't have to rely as much on other people to tell your story. When you have the story created in the narrative itself, you then give people a chance to follow along, to fall in love with what you're sharing, to be bought in to what you're telling them on the platforms. And by controlling the story and controlling that narrative, you then allow for people to build loyalty to you and not just your product. So in our next marketing takeaway, let's talk about social first and digital first engagement. The relaunch is deliberately digital and social first, not just a PDF reprint. That digital shift signals a shift away from static print towards ongoing and interactive content-rich experiences that meet audiences where they actually live. Because let's tell the truth, things like print is a beautiful art, but it's not as common as it was before. Like I even said, I get a lot of my information about the marketing industry through social media. I get it through social media scrolling, engagement. I don't pop up in a newspaper anymore. I still get magazines, but tell the truth, I don't read magazines like I used to. I don't really engage with them like I used to. I like the idea of physical print because of the visual part of it. You are the visuals. I'm going to keep saying that till we get them. But the actual physical publication does not have the same weight to me and a lot of people anymore. If you can have it quick and on demand and something you can carry in your phone, on your work tablet, on your computer, it makes it a lot more accessible to your audience and gives them a chance to indulge more with your content, unless you're doing something special, which I do think having things like newspapers or magazines printed for a special event, like it's a product launch or something like that, that's a cool takeaway. That's different. But if you have something that's ongoing, like a publication, a digital first strategy can help cut costs. It can help expand your reach in terms of your audience and getting it to people a lot faster and cheaper. It's different ways that you can do it that doesn't seem like you're just, pushing a button and saying, here you go, take it. It could be thoughtful. It could be a well thought out strategy. And it could also be integrated into your current strategies, from your blogs to your website to your social media content, breaking it down into like cool carousel content that people can save for later, or with a call to action link to see more in your link in bio. There's so many things you could do with the digital first strategy that does not have to lose the plot with your target audience. And in that final marketing takeaway, let's talk about brand expression through authentic creative voices. By fronting the first digital issue with global ambassador Doja Cat, it ties the newsletter to a culturally relevant creative voice, not just a celebrity endorsement. It becomes less about selling products and more about culture, self-expression, and creativity, real drivers in the beauty industry in terms of audience engagement today. By curating content around voices your audience genuinely loves and helps your platform transcend the promotional noise, because there's a lot of stuff that we see on social media, and it's so easy to scroll and miss something that you actually want to see, but something that becomes a cultural destination. It also allows for MAC to not just focus on promoting their content on social. Social, again, is a great tool. It is. But you cannot rely only on social media to amplify your campaign strategies. You have to pull different prongs to get people to pay attention to what you're doing. Because, like I said, social media can be a crowded space. Social media can be a lot, especially when you add the ads on top of that. Like, if I see an ad every single time I open up these freaking apps, there's an ad in front of my face. I don't want to see an ad. I want to see cute puppies. I want to see cute puppies. Okay. I want to see Aaron, Pierre, that's Mufasa. Like, I want to see that on my timeline. I want to see another ad for something you're selling. I want to see Romeo come up with another jingle or something cool. But when you allow for people to connect with you off of these social media platforms, people also purposely sign up for email listservs. They purposely sign up to, follow you on like Substack or Patreon and things like that. There are different ways to engage with your audience that don't rely only on these apps to do it. And also translating that into things like this digital MACzine is really cool, because now you have people who are engaging with your products. And again, you're still selling, but it's not selling so much in your face. It's selling through that cultural relevance with Doja Cat, that cool way of maybe, talking about the product and the experiences, having something you can touch or tap when you're reading a digital zine. That could be like a pop-up video that explains how to apply the product, or beauty tips. There's so many things you could do with these platforms, and I wish people would tap into that a bit more than just focusing on one channel to tell the entire story. Okay, I hope you enjoyed today's chat. Don't forget to follow Coffee with Yvonne on Instagram and Threads at Coffee with Yvonne. For my personal account, where you can see me cut up. You can see me cut up. You can see me when I talk about marketing stuff. Like, I did a marketing post recently. What was that about? It was about calendria. Kelly Rowland, Calendria, and Met the Man, Father Time's favorite new movie, Relationship Goals. It's so cute. You gotta watch it. But I talk about stuff like that on my personal platforms. And of course, I talk about my dog and my life and the podcast. But I'm just like, a regular smuggler girl from PG County. But you can learn more about that by going to my personal accounts on Instagram and TikTok at Yvonne_creative marketer. To learn more about me and my business that I own, that I pay taxes for, because tax season is here, I gotta file. Lord have mercy, I hate tax season so much. But the business that I own, you can go to pinkdollhousemarketing.com to check out my website, or you can follow my business page on Instagram. You can slide into my DMs. That's cool. And creators, I know I say this every week. I know I say it every week, but I'm going to keep saying it till you get it. Remember to keep showing up, keep creating, and that your voice matters. I cannot wait to chat with you soon on another episode of Coffee with Yvonne. Okay, bye! Coffee with Yvonne is produced and edited by Yvonne Pearson. Coffee with Yvonne is created by Pink Dollhouse Marketing. You can catch the latest episodes by subscribing to Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.